This is KGW News at Sunrise.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students will be back in court today. That comes just one day after prosecutors announced they're seeking the death penalty. Plus,
as soon as we found out that the shooter was not a threat, we offered him water.
Business owners in Northeast Portland are giving us more insight into a shooting that happened in the area on Friday. The person who was shot is in the hospital recovering this morning, but business owners say that person has been causing issues for months.
Also this morning, we know Damian Lillard has several nicknames, one of them being Logo Lillard. But this logo of Lillard, you ever hear that one?
No. I have not heard that.
Three-pointers from
No.
when he steps on the... Okay, we'll explain that in a second. This logo of Dame coming down and is fueling rumors that Damian Lillard will be traded. We'll tell you all we know about his meeting with team management on Monday. Today is Tuesday. This is the Sunrise team, and now I'll explain. You know when he steps over the half-court line, he's basically standing on the half-court logo, and he shoots those long threes. Logo Lillard.
Never heard that.
He's like, I can't believe you don't know that.
It makes sense.
It does.
Bang! Oh, good morning, everybody. Glad that you're watching.
That's nicely done, by the way.
I know, all of you guys are like...
I really want to do this.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, 1955.
My 3-year-old does that.
Anyways,
nice day today, guys.
Good.
It was 81 yesterday. We'll be back up to about 80 today. Here's a look at some sunshine. Well, not sun yet, but you can see the blue sky awaiting the rising sun out over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in a low of 52 degrees out that direction. From the Wells Fargo building, you get more cloudiness. Remember, yesterday the low clouds were coming in from the east. They eventually spilled in to downtown Portland. We're at 58 degrees right now. At any rate, whatever cloudiness we have through the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour this morning will go away. And then later today, 67 at noon, and we'll get right back up to about 80 at 5 p.m. That's your forecast.
Rod, that looks fabulous. Right, all right, the drive this morning. Let's get you out the door. A live look at the Interstate Bridge. I-5 traffic is moving. Let's kick the camera. All right, I promise it's moving. I-5 at SR14 in pretty good shape. A quick look at the drive out of Troutdale. There's your westbound commute over on that side of the screen, moving in from Troutdale on I-84. That too wide open. Guys, no crashes, no unexpected delays on the freeways just yet.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students last November will appear in court today. Brian Kohberger's team will ask the judge to pause the court proceedings. Devin Haskins is live in studio with us this morning with more on the next steps. Good morning, Devin.
Good morning, Brenda. Brian Kohberger's legal team will ask the judge for a stay of proceedings. They also want the judge to let them look at all the complete grand jury materials. Kohberger argues those grand jury proceedings are crucial in order to contest the indictment against him. But state prosecutors disagree. This is the latest hearing in a month of new information against Kohberger. The state says Kohberger's DNA was a statistical match to DNA found on a knife sheath at the scene. And in new court documents, Kohberger's attorneys accuse the state of hiding its entire case by seeking to protect information about the genetic genealogy investigation they say led them to him. His lawyers also writing that multiple male DNA samples were collected.
The state here is using a relatively new kind of DNA technology. So this is exactly the kind of thing the defense will argue that they need, because if this is emerging technology, they need all the facts they can if they're going to challenge it.
And on Monday, new court documents show the state plans to seek the death penalty against Brian Kohberger. Today's court hearing relating to the grand jury information and other motions starts at 1:30 this afternoon. Christine.
Okay, thank you, Devin. The man police say caused a deadly wreck in Gresham Sunday night is expected to make his second appearance in court this morning. Nathaniel Franklin made his first appearance yesterday. Gresham police say Franklin crashed into 4 cars near Northeast Gleason and 147th Avenue while trying to get away from police. 1 woman died and 3 others were hurt. Gresham police say an officer saw Franklin driving a car believed to have possibly been involved in a string of armed robberies. Investigators say when the officer pulled up behind Franklin, he sped off down Northeast Gleason Street.
I think it's fair to say that the officers were they're preparing to initiate a pursuit. This all happened very quickly, and it wasn't like the officers were actively chasing this car.
Police say both alcohol and speed appear to be factors in the crash.
Another man accused in another shooting last week in Northeast Portland has made his first appearance in court. That happened yesterday. We're talking about 58-year-old Andrew McNulty. He faces attempted murder charges for shooting a man 2 times, once in the chest and once in the leg. But business owners and neighbors in that part of Portland say the victim in this case has allegedly caused issues for months. Witnesses told officers the victim was walking right towards McNulty, gesturing as if asking for something. McNulty showed his gun, but the victim kept walking, so that's when McNulty fired.
Unfortunately, the victim, has been a bit of a nuisance in the neighborhood. I think that what happened was an extreme retaliation to what could have easily been handled by the city with simple care, proper resources for mental health facilities.
Portland police confirm the victim is still in the hospital, recovering from critical injuries. McNulty, meanwhile, has been released until his next court appearance.
A vigil in Seattle last night honored the 2 nurses shot and killed at a music festival. 29-year-old Brandy Escamilla and 26-year-old Jocelyn Ruiz were engaged and living in Seattle. They were shot to death in a campground next to the Gorge Amphitheater on June 17th. They were there for the Beyond Wonderland Festival.
They never got jaded with healthcare. They always wanted to give their best in terms of how they could help take care of people. I think that there is true selflessness in this world, and that Jocelyn and Brandy demonstrated that selflessness.
3 people were also injured. Online fundraisers for the victims' families have surpassed their goals. The suspect is still in jail and told investigators he was high on mushrooms and believed the world was ending when he fired the shots.
All right, back to a story we talked about right at the top of the hour. Some social media sleuths spotted some work being done on the front of the Moda Center. So they're taking down a logo, which happens to be a logo of Damian Lillard, and it's fueling rumors that Dame is going to be leaving the Blazers. So we can tell you right now, at this point, it's not happening. At least there's nothing on the table right now, but people on Twitter are reading into this a bit more. Hashtag Dame is currently trending.
And in the latest statement about the franchise favorite, the Blazers general manager says they still consider Lillard as part of the team's future.
So the Blazers GM met with Dame and his management team on Monday. Of course, this comes just a few days after the NBA draft when the team made 3 picks. This is the statement we got from Blazers GM Joe Cronin. It says, quote, "We had a great dialogue with Damian Lillard. We remain committed to building a winner around Dame." Lillard, though, was reportedly not happy that the Blazers didn't trade the number 3 overall pick in the draft last week to get a more seasoned player that could help the team right now, maybe help them make some sort of championship run. He has previously commented that he is not interested in a rebuild. Free agency starts this Friday, by the way. The Blazers could still make some additions or trade other assets to bring in another high-level veteran player.
So obviously a lot of people feel strongly about all this. Our article online got a ton of comments. We're going to read through a few of them now. Jesse says, when free agency starts, you have to go big or lose your fans. Show this team you're serious. And Jack is saying if Dame wants a championship, he's going to have to leave Portland. He says, you deserve much better than the smoke they blow. And Matt is hoping the team can pull off a trade before the season starts. He says, this is a business. Can't be sentimental. I love Dame, but move him. And last but not least, Terry says, love Dame. Hope it works out for him to stay. So obviously, lots of opinions here.
You know, always, since I've been here, which is now 20 plus years, to me, one of the biggest issues or problems for the Blazers is free agency works 2 ways. Not too many free agents, high-profile free agents want to come to play to Portland. They want to go to New York. They want to go to LA. They want to go to Miami. It happens every year that way. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you can try to lure someone here, but sometimes the lure is not enough.
I just said, tell me when it's over. Back and forth. That's one thing about social media that I hate. It's like somebody sees a thing and they jump to a conclusion, then somebody else picks it up, and now Dame is leaving.
Yeah, they are allowed to clean the windows. Just because they're taking down a logo, they could just be cleaning the windows.
Or replacing it with another one of them.
Right. Anyways,
Roddy, it's only a problem. So I don't know if Damian has a little key card to get into the Moda Center like we have at KGW. But when this key card doesn't let you in, that's when you have a problem.
That's when you know.
That's when you're like, what? Maybe I should check my email. All right, here we go with temperatures expected today. Now, obviously, we have different time zones along the U.S., and this is stuck mid-afternoon in Texas. And look at 102 in San Antonio, 101 in Dallas. There are still excessive heat warnings. You see the purple, that's that 3 weeks now this has been going on for them. They have forecast cities of 106, 107, 108 when you get into West Texas. Now, forecasters are finally seeing signs this batch of air is going to start moving. Here it is this afternoon at 4 p.m. The core of the hot air, you can see it right there over El Paso. Now I'm going to play this, and you're going to see by Friday, it's starting to expand itself back to the west, moving into especially Nevada and over into Arizona. Here we are getting into the holiday weekend. This is July 3rd on Monday. And the core, if this is correct, is now kind of over the Four Corners area of Utah, Nevada, and down into Arizona. And this would be far enough northward that we would start seeing at least parts of Oregon get up into the 90s and maybe even a little bit hotter than that. So we are keeping an eye on the potential westward movement of that batch of air. Okay, today it's going to be pretty comfy again. We have some showers lingering from yesterday's storms out across northeastern Oregon. More storms are coming to the east side. Cannon Beach starting off with some clouds and fog, 54 degrees. Yesterday the coast ended up having some decent sun most areas. And it could be some partial clearing at the beach again today. A mixed bag of low clouds over the valley to start our Tuesday. We're at 58 in Portland, 55 down in Salem, and 62 in the Dalles. And here comes your 7-day forecast. So thunderstorms out east, but we'll be all dry. A mix of morning clouds to sun, 80 today. Still pretty comfortable tomorrow, 84. And then we start to heat up. And there's the 90 maybe on Sunday, but I do think we'll be in the 90s on Monday and on July 4th, Tuesday. That's your forecast.
All right, Rob, thank you.